The Cecil Hotel is a Los Angeles landmark, and it's one of the most haunted places in America. It opened in 1927 and was originally called the Stay Plus. The idea was that it would be a budget hotel for working people. For just $1.25, they could get a bed in a shared dormitory-style room. While the price might sound low by today's standards, back then it was an amazing deal. People flocked to the hotel, and soon it became the largest privately owned hostel in the world. It had 13 stories and almost 2,000 rooms with 6,000 beds. But over the years, things started to go downhill. The area outside the hotel took a turn for the worst, and it was no longer safe for guests. In 1962, the name was changed to the Cecil Hotel. By this point, it wasn't catering to the working man anymore. Instead, it had become a flophouse, full of the city's homeless population and those who were down on their luck. It didn't take long for rumors to spread about the place. Some said it was a haven for serial killers, and others said guests were going missing all the time. Let's explore these rumors and find out if the Cecil really is the most haunted hotel in America. One of the scariest aspects of the Cecil Hotel is its past guests. Some people have stayed here, and no one has ever seen them again. And when I say some, I mean a lot. Over the years, more than 60 guests have checked in and never checked out. The first notable disappearance happened in 1931, when a young woman named Pauline Piper vanished into thin air after checking into the hotel. Her body was never recovered, and her family eventually gave up hope of seeing her alive again. But they wanted answers. They hired a private investigator, but he came back empty-handed. He told them he'd seen Piper enter the hotel, but he claimed she had left 2 days later. However, surveillance footage from the hotel showed that she never left. This was the first of many similar cases over the decades. In 1947, a musician named Elizabeth West went missing after booking a room at the Cecil. She had been performing at the Coconut Grove, a popular nightclub at the time, and had planned to stay at the Cecil while she performed. But she disappeared after just one night. Her body was never found, and her family waited almost 50 years before giving up the search. Then in 1964, a young mother named Ruby Doss went missing after checking into the Cecil. She had come to LA from Texas with dreams of becoming a starlet, but she ended up working as a waitress. She saved enough money to get a small room at the Cecil, but one day she disappeared and was never seen again. These are just 3 of the most well-known disappearances that have occurred at the Cecil. There were many more like them, which is why it gained the nickname the Hotel of Lost Women. The disappearances weren't the only strange thing happening at the Cecil. Crimes big and small were committed inside its walls. In 1962, a man named Richard Ramirez booked a room at the hotel. He had been on a crime spree across LA and was known as the Night Stalker. He broke into homes at night and tortured his victims before stealing their belongings. He also committed several sexual assaults during his spree. After being arrested, he was sent to jail, but he would often escape and return to the Cecil. He used the hotel as a base of operations and would stay there between crimes. He was finally caught in 1989 and sentenced to death. He died in prison in 2013. Also in 1962, a man named Glenn McFarland booked a room at the hotel. He was a con artist and forger who had been on the run from the FBI for several years. At the Cecil, he met a woman named Pauline Gill, and they decided to team up to commit crimes. Together, they robbed several banks and were eventually caught. McFarlane was sentenced to 25 years in prison, but he was released after serving only 5 years. Gill, on the other hand, was sentenced to 10 years, but she served her full sentence back at the Cecil. And in 1988, a man named David Carpenter booked a room at the hotel. He was a serial killer who targeted women in Los Angeles County. He would abduct his victims, take them to an isolated location, and then murder them. He was eventually caught and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As you can see, the Cecil Hotel has seen its fair share of violence throughout the years. But it wasn't just violent criminals who were drawn to the hotel. It was also a favorite spot for people who wanted to end their own lives. Between 1962 and 2013, more than 60 people died by suicide at the Cecil. The most famous case was that of Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old Canadian student who died in 2013. She was staying at the Cecil while she studied abroad at the University of California, Los Angeles. But one day, she disappeared. Security footage from the hotel showed her entering the elevator but never leaving. Her body was eventually found in the water tank on the roof of the hotel. An investigation revealed that she had died accidentally, but the circumstances surrounding her death remain unclear. It's not hard to see why the Cecil Hotel has earned its reputation as one of the most haunted places in America. From the countless disappearances to the murders and suicides, there is no shortage of tragedy here. But some people are still drawn to the hotel. Maybe they want to experience the paranormal activity for themselves. Or maybe they're just curious about what it would be like to stay in a haunted hotel. Whatever the reason, the Cecil is still standing, and it's still taking guests. If you're one of those people who are fascinated by the paranormal, then you'll love our other videos about haunted places. We've covered everything from haunted houses to abandoned asylums and everything else in between, so be sure to check out our channel. Now let's talk about the present day. What's happening at the Cecil Hotel now? It stayed open throughout all the craziness and continues to operate as a hotel today, but it's undergone some changes. In 2011, the owner of the Cecil, Simon Barron, decided to give the hotel a facelift. He spent millions of dollars renovating the rooms and common areas, and it now looks like a luxury hotel. However, the outside of the building is still pretty run down. Despite the renovations, the Cecil is still a budget hotel, and it caters mostly to the homeless population. But it has also attracted a new type of guest, the curious tourist. Many people come to stay at the Cecil just because it's so infamous. They want to experience the supposed paranormal activity for themselves. So what is it like to stay at the Cecil today? Well, the rooms are small but clean, and the staff is friendly. But it's not all fun and games. There have been several reports of strange activity in the hotel. Some guests have claimed to have seen ghosts walking the halls or standing at the end of their beds. Others have heard voices or footsteps in the middle of the night. There have even been reports of objects moving on their own. All of this is probably why the Cecil has earned its reputation as one of the most haunted places in America. But not everyone believes in ghosts. So what else could be going on at the Cecil? One theory is that the walls are simply too thin. This means that you can hear everything going on in the next room, including the people talking, coughing, or even crying. Another theory is that the plumbing is to blame. The pipes in the old building make a lot of noise, and this can often sound like footsteps or voices. Of course, there's also the possibility that the Cecil is simply a magnet for troubled people. After all, it's not the most expensive hotel in town, and it's conveniently located near Skid Row. This means that people who are down on their luck or have substance abuse problems are more likely to end up here. It's possible that these people are responsible for some of the strange activity that's been reported. They may have mental health problems that make them see or hear things that aren't there. What do you think? Is the Cecil Hotel really haunted? Or are there more rational explanations for the strange activity that's been reported there? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. While we've focused on the dark side of the Cecil Hotel, it's important to remember that it's still a place where people live. Many of the guests are hardworking individuals who are just trying to get by. They may not have a lot of money, but they deserve to feel safe and respected. That's why we're calling for an end to the stigma surrounding the Cecil. It's not a haunted hotel. It's a place where people live and work. It may have a rough exterior, but there are good people inside. Let's work together to create a more welcoming and understanding community. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.